Hello, hello, hello. Mitchell Lee here with you alongside Brandon Tew and Howie Collings on the second episode of Press Play Action on Jersey Nerds Productions. 2023 has come and it has gone. And so now we're here to not recap the year that was. We already did that. We're going to give our top 10 and bottom 10 movies of 2023. We've done this before. It's always a fun exercise. I feel like we've gotten a lot more this year than in the last few years in both directions. We've had some stinkers. We've had some movies that were just absolutely incredible. Brandon and Howie, I know that first of all, Brandon, I know you've seen like 500 movies this year, and people have probably heard of about maybe 60 of them. So I can't wait to see your worst list, because your best list, I think, we kind of share the same brain. But Howie, we don't share the same brain. So I'm curious.
I can't wait
There's
for
a lot.
Howie's list, honestly.
There's a lot there. I mean, I kind of gave a little bit of a teaser of my top five. However, my top five recently got shaken up. So there's some changes on there. So we'll talk more about it, but it's gonna be interesting.
However, before we get started, we got to pour one out for not the dead homies, but just the homie that couldn't join us. That being Joshua Kornmeyer. He usually joins us for these top 10 lists. So I am going to, before we get started, I'm going to do his top 10 list for him, because I'm looking at his letterboxd right now. And I'm going to expose this man for the fact that he saw 20 movies in 2023. So this man was doing other things.
It might be light. He might just not have logged everything, but yeah.
And you'll be able to tell how light it is by the fact that number 10 is Fast X.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Hold
okay.
on.
No.
Hold
Let him cook. Let him cook.
Fast X is 23rd movie of the year for me. I know we're not going past 20.
I thought you might have it on there.
24 for me.
Right, exactly. So that's valid on Josh's part. Top 10, we love it.
I've got it at number 44. So
you're a hater,
I did like the movie, but it's number 44. I just said I liked the movie, you dumbass. All right. See, the hatred's already flowing. Number 9, he's got Barbie.
Okay.
Cook. All right.
So that's a solid entry right there. I can appreciate that. Number 8, Elemental. I know he came out of that one singing its praises. He saw it before any of us, which was a rarity in 2023. So Josh had to stick his neck out for Elemental.
Since I already gave Fast X a shout out, 24th best movie of the year for me. So
Elemental. You're talking about Elemental?
Yeah.
Elemental was number 30 for me. So
nice.
Still pretty good. Then he had The Iron Claw at number 7.
Okay.
Seems kind of low for the 20 movies he saw, but
I think he'll be appreciative, because his top 6 is pretty good, but number 6 is The Creator. Okay. Very divisive movie in 2023, but those who loved it, and Josh was definitely on that side.
I don't want to spoil anyone's list, but is it on anyone else's list?
I'm not going to spoil anyone else's list, so I'm not going to mention whether it is
okay.
on mine or not.
Okay. Well, I'll save the creator talk, because I rewatched it thinking it might get into my top 10, and it fell to like my 60th favorite movie this year, or 50th favorite
that's
movie
crazy.
This year.
That's a study drop.
I have some opinions about it. Yeah. Anyway.
Number 5 was John Wick Chapter 4, a movie that Josh and I had the pleasure of seeing together about a week before it came out. Glad to see it represented on his list. Number 4 was Oppenheimer, the second half of the Barbie Oppenheimer phenomenon.
Okay.
Number 3, another movie that Josh and I saw together, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Okay. We can get
very high on the list.
All right.
I mean, that's high.
All right.
We love it.
Number 2 was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Okay.
It is cooking.
All right.
Okay.
I would disagree with the cooking analogy. I think he burnt down the kitchen. I'm not a big Guardians fan. It is number, let's see, how low can he go? 54 on the list.
Wow.
And his number 1 movie, to the surprise of no one really, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Fair.
Joshua
Very
Kornmeyer's
fair.
#1 movie. It combines two things he loves: superheroes and animation. So hard
Yeah.
to deny that. So
Yeah.
Joshua, we miss you. You're not dead, but you kind of were at the movies this year. You only saw 20, so you weren't
He
really
said he's
alive.
hoping to change it this year, so we're
If
hoping he's going to be
if he did a
back.
bottom 10 of the year, Fast X would be his number 10. It'd be both
Yeah.
in his top 10 and his bottom 10.
Hey, it's on both sides, so he always comes out on top. So
Something like that. All right, so enough with the people who aren't here. Let's get to the people who are here. Brandon, the floor is yours. 10 through 6, plus any honorable mentions you want to throw out there.
Yeah, let's just throw out some honorable mentions before we get started. John Wick 4, loved it. Action sequences, awesome. I'm gonna give it that's my 17th favorite movie of the year. Just absolutely sick movie. One that I would put in the same range as John Wick 4 for me, Creed 3. Um, yeah, Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut, uh, absolutely fantastic. The sequence, the ring entrances in this movie might top some of the ring entrances in the other movies, and the other movies are very high.
They're always
In
good.
terms of yeah, always
Yeah.
good. The Dodger Stadium one was absolutely lit. I don't like the Dodgers.
yeah,
As a baseball fan, I'm a Braves fan. I'm not really as big of a
Ooh,
Braves
you
fan
hate
as
them.
I used to be, because of my job. But that Dodgers entrance where they come out of the dugouts is just absolutely electric.
See, I
One of the
like the
best
one with the
scenes I've seen
Mexican
all year.
guy.
Yeah, that's fair.
That
No,
one was
that was a good
fire.
one too. That was a fire one as well. All fire around in terms of the ring entrances, always are. With the Creed movies, but yeah, Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut, awesome. I'll go ahead and mention some movies that probably won't be on people's top tens. I really liked Pneumonia. I know we mentioned that as a surprise.
Nimona, not pneumonia.
Sorry, Pneumonia.
You saw the damn movie.
Yeah, I saw the movie. That's awful. That's probably one of the worst
I love
pronunciations.
pneumonia.
Yeah. That's probably one of the worst pronunciation
That's
mistakes
pretty
ever
bad.
made.
It's pretty bad.
15th best movie of the year for me. Absolute surprise. I really liked it. I liked the animation. I thought the animation was it was like a kind of sketchbook esque. Kind of looked a little like drawy, but I was always here for it. And as you mentioned with Blue Sky, like I'm actually kind of glad they like allowed them to finish that movie and put it on Netflix because it ended up being a
Yeah.
really big surprise of the year. Another one for me, and this is probably just because him as an actor, Taron Egerton in Tetris. He carries that movie for me. That movie
I
is
want to see
really,
that.
really awesome. It's a really good movie.
Yeah.
But Edgerton is the goat of that movie. Like he just
I'm
carries
kind of
it.
surprised that didn't make your list. Maybe it's just because
Yeah,
you've been talking it up all year because it came out in like March or April. But I
yeah,
finally
yeah.
got
Right.
around to watching it, and I did really. It won't be on my list, but I did really like it. It was a good time, and Taron Egerton's phenomenal.
Yeah, 14th best movie of the year for me. I'll leave the other ones because I'm pretty sure they're on people's top tens. If they're not, so I'll leave the rest of them. But that's 14, 15, 16, and 17, and then I had Evil Dead Rise at 18. Really good horror movie. I don't really have much outside of that. That other people probably won't have on their list. So number 10 for me. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. And I
Nice.
thought this movie was not going to make my list after I basically proclaimed to Mitchell halfway through the year that there was no way this movie wasn't going to make my list.
Yeah, I
Um,
remember that.
yeah, this movie was awesome. The acting is just unbelievable. Acting job by Abby Ryder Fortson as Margaret is just incredible. Honestly, we probably should get her an Oscar nomination. She won't get one, but I this is the most underrated movie of the year, and people are sleeping on it. And this movie, it has a message, a story behind it, and it executes it really well in a tight time window. And I don't know, I was just in my feelings for a couple of days after this movie. It's a really, really good movie. So yeah, For me, number 10, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Number 9, a movie that Mitchell recently saw for the first time, Anatomy of a Fall. I got to see this in theaters.
I didn't get to that one.
Oh, you
I
didn't?
wanted so badly to get to that before this
Oh,
list, and I just couldn't find the time.
oh, I got you. Well, pull one out because Anatomy of a Fall probably would have been on Mitchell's top 10 list. Just an awesome courtroom drama. They do it so well. The characters in it are very good. The acting from a bunch of different actors. I'm gonna give props to a couple. I'll give
Heard the
props
kid's
later,
really good.
but yeah, the kid's really good. I don't want to like just say like the kid. I kind of want to give people like props. Milo Machado Grainer as Daniel is really good. That's who you're mentioning, and then Sandra Hüller. I think she was nominated at the Golden Globes.
She'll probably get an Oscar nomination too.
Yeah, she should get an Oscar nomination because she was awesome, and they just do a really good job
Mhm.
telling like a courtroom drama, and it's the best non-English film I've seen this year, which is high praise because there's some really good non-English films. So for me,
Right.
number 9, Anatomy of a Fall, Past Lives, number 8 for me. Now,
Hey.
I had a feeling this was going to be on Howie's top 10. I just think Greta Lee and Liam Sung Min are just phenomenal in this movie. And yeah,
Yeah.
John Magaro, he does his thing as well as Arthur. Kind of the husband of the wife who's meeting the long lost child, her friend.
Yeah.
Like that dynamic of those three like really works. And it's a slow burn. It's a slow burn, but the payoff at the end is very emotional. And what I
Yeah.
truly loved about this movie, and I was telling Mitchell about it, the cinematography and the way they shoot the shots of the cities and like the contrasting of like New York City and then Seoul and Korea is just really cool. And then all the background audio that they capture, it doesn't overtake
Right.
what's being said in terms of dialogue, but it's there and it's present. And I don't know if I've seen a movie that quite like uses background audio the way they do to like kind of immerse you in like you see them going on a walk together talking, and you like feel like you're almost there like watching them from like a bench or something, watching them like talk. So I thought that was really really cool. Like I really love Past Lives. It's a movie I saw late. I saw 2 days ago, and yeah, I fell in love with it. I think that movie's awesome. It's a slow burn, but it's worth the ending, and it's such an awesome romantic movie. It's so beautiful, and the intricate details that they take a look at is just absolutely awesome. Let's see. Number 7 for me, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Uh,
Yes,
Mitchell is an
sir. He's
absolute
cooking.
yeah. Mitchell is an absolute hater. I mean, he can believe what he wants.
And I
James
do.
Gunn is yeah. James Gunn was in the lab. He was cooking up another great Guardians film, and I I don't think it's the best one of the series, but I mean it's pretty
Oh.
close. It's pretty close.
Oh. Okay. That
Pretty
that's a
close.
take.
Yeah.
That part's a take.
That is a correct take, Brandon. Thank you very much.
That it's
One is the
not that
best.
it's not the best. Yes, one is the best, but even though I saw them out of order, which is hilarious.
Brandon, are you
Backstory.
sure you know which one's which? I'll never
Yeah, I
forget
do know which one's which now, but it's
this
just so
man
funny.
sat down to watch the first one and was like, "Yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy one's really good." And I'm like, "You're watching the second one, man.
Dude,
This,
I will
this
I
is
will
two."
never forgive that rental store for giving me the wrong Guardians movie. I just won't.
Guardians movie.
I just won't.
It literally
But
lights up in bright letters at the beginning, Volume 2, and
yeah, I
Brandon's just
must
like,
have
"Oh,
missed
but that
it.
means it's
Well,
one."
that's because two's opening scene is so legendary that I probably just missed like volume
Right.
2 at the end. No,
Yeah.
all the stuff with Rocket is just incredible, absolutely emotional. Um, the rest of the movie I don't think is as good as the scenes with Rocket, but what I do think the rest of the movie has is just an awesome Guardians film. And if you love Guardians of the Galaxy, this is probably going to be in your top 10. Spoiler. Yeah. So for me,
Spoiler for your top 10.
right, exactly. So yeah, that's my number 7 movie of the year, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And then number 6, I'm kind of sad this is number 6 and did not make my top 5, but it's an incredible movie, and a movie that I would have given 5 stars if I didn't hold 5 stars in such high regard. And that is The Holdovers. The Holdovers is an absolutely incredible film. It's an incredible Christmas movie. And Mitchell just did something that involved a state bird from New Jersey.
I flipped them off.
Yeah. It's going to be
Yeah,
higher
it's
on
from
his
it.
list. It's going to be higher on his list. But, for me, I was
Number
going back and
6.
forth. Do I want this movie to be in my top 5? It was
Yes.
so close. You honestly could give a tie between the two movies I have at 5 and 6. But I'm going to go with Holdovers at number 6, and I'm just going to stand pat at that. Paul Giamatti, if it wasn't for Murphy and Oppenheimer, he would win an Oscar. Like if Oppenheimer didn't exist, Paul Giamatti would win an Oscar, and that's how great the performance is.
There.
And God, all the performances, acting wise, are just downright incredible. And it's what carries the movie. It's what makes the movie so awesome. And this movie is going to be on Mitchell's top 10, so I'll save it for when he wants to break it down. But yeah, number 6 for me, The Holdovers. This is my definitive 6 through 10, and Mitchell can have his opinions, but whatever. This is my
That's a fantastic top 10 or 10 through 6 as far as I'm concerned. There's one movie that you did not talk about that I really hope makes an appearance in the top 5, and if it doesn't, you're going to hear about it.
Okay, fair.
Holdovers being at 6. I know Howie's probably got that in like his bottom 10. I know he wasn't quite as thrilled with that as the rest of us. Holdovers can't be as good as The Little Mermaid. But Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret make an appearance. Very nice. Guardians, the stuff with Rocket is like A plus top tier Marvel stuff for me, and I think the rest of the movie is like a C minus D plus.
See, I think the rest of the movie is like an A minus B plus, and so that's why I can get past.
Yeah, and that's why I'm not gonna my job with something I might disagree with is not gonna sit here and say, oh, it's bad. It's go watch that movie because you might love it the way that Josh did, or the way Brandon did, or the way Howie does. I'm definitely in the minority on this one, but I will tell everyone to go check it out. Sarah had it high on her list, but she just can't ever watch it again because, like, whenever I bring it up, she's like, I don't think I can ever watch that again. It's just so much.
Yeah, it is.
And it is. Which, if you haven't seen it, sounds strange. Like, it's a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. It's going to be funny. It's going to be a good time. And it is. But it's also very dark. And you got to be prepared for that.
They kind of end the, like, Guardians as we know it. Like, whether they bring the Guardians back is a question mark. But, like, the Guardians as we know it is, like, ending. And I think it's a very, very satisfying ending.
Yeah.
All right. Howie, take us away.
Oh God, it's me.
Cook, buddy.
It's
my
me.
turn.
Oh no! Don't put Super Mario Brothers on there, please. If Josh didn't do it and he saw 5 movies, you don't
Super
have to.
Mario is number 20. It's number 20 on my list.
Too high, but
still too high. I don't know. Like, again, I'm biased as a gamer. Seeing a very good video game adaptation gives it bonus points anytime.
I'm with you. How it wasn't as high. It was 46 for me, but I saw that movie 5 times in theaters, and it was awesome every single time. So whatever. Like Mitchell's
reaction is like 5 times.
You saw a movie that's number 46 on your list 5 times. My number 46 movie was The Killer. I watched that movie 1 time and I was done.
You probably should watch it too because it went up my list.
He's saying you gotta give it another chance. Super Mario was number 20, so giving some respect to Mario. All right, don't diss.
Love that.
You mentioned Little Mermaid earlier. Little Mermaid's number 26 on my list. Okay,
I remember you came out of that like, this is amazing.
Yeah, and I had to actually like be realistic because I get the high after a movie and I'm like, this was the greatest piece of cinema ever. And
Nah,
then
let
I'm
me
like, oh.
let me clear that up for the audience that don't speak Howie. He was thirsting over Halle Bailey.
Okay, stop. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Let's just
Don't put me on blast, but it's true. She was good in the movie.
Yes.
Mermaid,
Yes.
26. But going into my honorable mentions, at number 15 that was on my list was A Good Person with Florence Pugh and Morgan Freeman. I really like The Good Person. I really, really enjoyed it. So that was number 15 for me. If you
Brandon's
guys
giving me
haven't seen it,
side eye right now.
I mean,
I recommend seeing
I
it.
don't like hate the take, but like that's an emotional and dark movie. So if
I
we're
haven't
at
seen
It's
it.
15,
very emotional and dark.
wow. Also,
Yeah, we saw
Morgan
it
Freeman's
midday on
character,
Sunday.
yeah, Morgan Freeman's character
Yeah.
is not a good person. Like as much as that,
Yeah.
A
that
bad person.
movie wants you to make you seem like it is, he's not. At the end, it turns
Yeah.
out like whatever it is. But yeah, if people are interested, watch it. But it's very dark. Is all I'm gonna say.
Yes. It's a heavy movie to watch, but I think Florence Pugh and Morgan Freeman were great in it. Their characters were very interesting and very deep to get to like the root of their issues and problems. I love stuff like that in movies. That one was really good. B2 said that this movie was going to be higher on my list, but it's actually not. Past Lives is number 14 on my list.
Oh,
Past
That-
Lives is 14.
That is like when last year when I kept telling you guys to watch Puss in Boots 2, but it didn't make my list. That's what that feels like because you've been
Yeah.
telling us all
Yeah.
year to
all
watch
year.
Past Lives,
I thought it was gonna be like
only
the
for
fifth best
you
movie of the year
to
for you.
not put it on your list.
But the reason why it's an A, like it's an A for me, but I saw so many movies this year that I gave an A plus that it just got bumped down. It's like my top 15 is tough. It's a competitive market. So it's 14 for me, but I loved Past Lives. Another movie that I hyped up that is also not in my top 10 is They Clone Tyrone at number 13.
Yeah.
So that one's 13 on my list. Again, loved this movie. Just the movies above were better. Mitchell will probably get on me for this one, but number 12 is The Holdovers for me
I'll kill
on
you.
my list.
What an absolute
He's gonna
crying
get-
shame.
He's gonna strangle me after.
My man gave every movie imaginable 5 stars. He gave every movie a A plus.
What
But I'm a
more
cook.
does the
No.
holdovers have to do.
Let me cook. I
me
got
a
more
shoulder
movies up there, but the
massage.
Holdovers. The Holdovers is 12. We'll let Mitchell dive deep because he's high on it.
Yes.
Number 11 on my list, my last honorable mention is Bottoms. I loved Bottoms so much.
I could have sworn that
Number
was
11.
making your list. I
It
thought
was-
that was
it
making your
was.
list.
We're talking about a
It
movie
was.
that you two saw that I never saw. Bottoms.
Yeah, it was. Let's see. For me, it's number 39 because I thought that
Whoa.
I thought the first 2/3 were like on the same level as something
Magical.
like Barbie.
Yeah.
Like it's so
Yeah.
good, and then the last like 20 minutes is just like, all right, I think you guys took the joke a little too far. but
I can see that.
but it might work. For
I haven't
some
thought about
people.
that, but I can
Gosh,
see it.
now I will kind of like. I definitely. I'm gonna watch it at some point, and I'll see where I put it on my list. But
Brandon, if
I think-
nothing
yeah.
else, and I think that Rachel Sennott and Ayo Edebiri are just phenomenal in this, and I kind of want them to just keep making like buddy comedy movies for the next 10
Yes.
years. But Brandon, Marshawn Lynch is in this movie.
is he? Good?
And he was great.
That's
Oh, he's
all I need
great.
to know.
Yes.
That's all you need to know.
Okay.
Marshawn Lynch.
He's great.
Marshawn Lynch has like a supporting role in this movie and is hilarious.
Was he eating Skittles? Because that would have been like the ultimate joke.
I don't think he was, but I wouldn't
I don't
be
think he did.
surprised.
Yeah, I need a rewatch because I don't think he did. But
No, but he's
Bottoms
really funny.
is definitely worth your time. So definitely check it out. It's number 11 on my list. Let's go ahead and get into the nitty gritty, the 10 through 6. At number 10, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. Number 10 on my list. I loved this movie. Tom Cruise can do no wrong. Mission Impossible movies always hit. Dead Reckoning was incredible. Loved the supporting cast this time around. Tom Cruise killed it. His stunt with the motorbike might be one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Literally insane.
Yeah.
I saw recently that he did it 6 times, and I'm like, what? Why would you do it? I thought one was good.
How?
Because
how
he's
is he-
insane.
He's going to
Yeah.
die making one of these movies, and it's going to, he just is.
Yeah, we need to enjoy Tom Cruise because Tom Cruise is trying to kill Tom Cruise in every possible way.
He's
And I
he's
fear he
trying
might
to,
succeed.
and
Yeah,
he's doing it for our entertainment, and I love him.
This is how close it was, and I left it because I thought it was going to be on someone's list. Number 12 for me,
Mhm.
Howie. Number 12.
Oh, it's not on your list.
Just
Wow.
missed it. No,
Punk
just
ass
missed
bitch.
it. Just missed it. Just missed.
Wow.
So what you're saying?
Just
What you're
missed.
saying is it ain't Maverick though.
It ain't Maverick.
That
That man's got a. That man's got
Shout
a
out
new.
to Top
That
Gun
man's got a
Maverick.
new studio.
Oh yeah, Warner Brothers just like brought
The
him
Warner
on,
Brothers
like,
deal.
hey, I just keep hoping he makes adrenaline fueled movies.
I do too, but I also want to see how he does with non-adrenaline like fueled movies. I want to see him
The drama,
expand his range a little bit
man.
just to see.
Because I'll tell you, Brandon and I had the same conversation before American Made came out in 2017, and then we saw that, and it's like,
Right.
hey, this is fantastic. It's a really
Yeah.
slept on movie if you haven't seen it.
Really good movie.
Yeah, I had to check that one out. I have not seen that, but Tom Cruise, more Mission Impossible because I think Part 2 is coming out this year or next year.
Next year,
Whenever it comes out. Next year, we're tuned in. I'm locked in day one for that, of course.
Most anticipated.
Number 9. Oh, my bad. You're good. Number 9 on my list is Godzilla -1. Godzilla cinema. All I gotta say, what a movie! No one saw Godzilla coming this year. Like literally in the movie and also in real life. Because wow. What a film, especially for a non-English film to just do as well as it did in a limited budget. They were cooking. It was incredible. I have no notes about Godzilla. It was really good. I'm excited to see what they do because they tease there's going to be another one coming after it. So I'm excited to see what the next one in this new series of Godzilla films is going to be. Number 8 on my list is a movie that Mitchell is not high about, but B2 and I are, is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 at number
Let's
8
go.
on the list.
I'm surprised
What a
you're not
movie.
higher on it.
Look, again, it was a tough year this year. It was a lot of competitive movies, but Guardians of the Galaxy, I really, really loved. Rocket's story. I love the cast. Again, everybody did a great job. And I think what made it better too was watching the holiday special. And the holiday special was really good too. And just kind of tying that into Volume 3. James Gunn, I think this might be his best movie. That might be a take, but he did a really good job of Guardians 3. I really liked it. I think it's better than the Suicide Squad. Yeah, I know it's a take.
That's a take.
It might be his
the
best.
Suicide Squad is
Suicide Squad
elite.
is tough to beat.
It's elite. But
it was good.
The holiday special, in terms of Disney Plus like show related stuff, the holiday special might be like top 4, top 3. Like that.
It was very good.
Yeah.
I did enjoy the holiday special.
Very good. Also want to point out Godzilla -1, number 11 on my list, Howie, just missed.
Just missed the cut.
That was the one. The one
Yep.
that I was going to say, if that's not on your list, I'm going to beat your ass. So I'm going to see you on Thursday and I'm going to beat your ass. How the hell did that not make your top 10? We saw the movie together, Brandon.
I was thinking
Doesn't that
about
mean
it
something to you?
like which one emotionality wise like hit for me more. I was going between Are You There, God? And It's Me, Margaret, or Godzilla. And I chose Are You There, God? Like walking out of Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. I I don't know, connected with that movie a little bit more. I love Godzilla -1 though. Like that, you could honestly go tie for 10 for me. Like that's how close that is.
Yeah. Well, hey, just missed your top 10, so I'll give you some props there because you saw a lot of movies this year, so I won't get on you too bad about that.
Props.
He saw 130 movies, so can't give him too much shit for that. Number 7 on my list. I was a little bit higher on this one than I think you guys were, but I loved Creed 3. I thought that it was very good. It's number 7 on my list this year.
I can't be mad at that.
Even though Jonathan Majors is kind of in some shit right now.
Yeah.
His role was very good. Was very good in the movie. Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut was just cinema. Chef's kiss.
That's the big takeaway for me from this one is just Michael B. Jordan. Because I leave every Creed movie going, that was a perfect way to end it. Please don't make another one and have a bad one in the series. And then they make another one, and it's so good. And now I just want to see what Michael B. Jordan's going to do as a director.
Yeah, because he's directing Creed 4, and then they're also doing an anime Creed. Like they're doing an animated series on it, which would be interesting.
I want to see.
Yeah,
I just want to see what they do with crazy. Like the style, because the fighting styles, like in this one, what Michael B. Jordan did with it was
Yeah.
which is pretty awesome. I'm glad it made someone's top 10 because that movie's fantastic. Like that movie's awesome.
Yeah. Very good movie, and I was really high on it. And number 6 for me, this movie just got bumped down from the top 5. One that Mitchell just watched recently is Suzumi, which is number 6 on my list of the year. I really enjoyed Suzumi, seeing it in April. An animated Japanese film that you guys definitely need to check out. I wouldn't say it's on the likes of Studio Ghibli, but it's pretty close. It's really, really good. I
Man, I
really
liked
enjoyed
it
it.
better than the Ghibli
And
movie that came out this year.
So
hey, I
that's
haven't seen
divisive
that
though.
one. So
That's divisive though. Some
yeah,
people love the boy and the heron Mitchell.
Some
Like,
people really do. I'm not on that side. In fact,
no,
I'm 10
I
toes
mean,
down
it
on the
just
opposing
is.
side, but
Um, is
Suzume
it
is the
better?
one,
said
Is
guys.
it better? Is it better than Spirited Away? Because I think Spirited Away is the best.
I have to watch Spirited Away
oh,
again. I was so just
Spirited Away
like
is so
in
good.
a fog when I saw Spirited Away because it was unlike anything I'd ever seen.
Right, which is what that director is. Like that's what
Yeah.
he does.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Spirited Away. That movie's incredible. Like if you compare it to Suzumi, it doesn't like Suzumi doesn't come close to how good Spirited Away was, but
Okay.
that's like one of
Good.
the best movies ever. Like just straight up.
Yeah.
So but Suzumi was very good. It's an A+ for me this year. And if you guys have not got a chance to check it out, I believe it's on Crunchyroll. So if you're an anime fan, it's on
Yeah.
Crunchyroll right now. But definitely check it out. It's really, really good. Number 6 on my list for this year.
I like it. I like how there were some overlap between Brandon and Howie, but also Howie bringing his. I knew that. Is it Suzume or how do you pronounce it? Because I watched the movie and I thought it
I
was Suzume.
say it might be Suzume, but I said Suzumi. So if anybody's Japanese, I apologize for my
Hey,
terrible.
I just want to make sure
pronunciation.
I wasn't saying it wrong because I couldn't quite remember. I watched this movie about a week and a half ago and loved it. So I'm
Yeah,
glad that it was on your list because that was
yeah.
another one that you'd been pounding the table for months,
Just
and then I finally got around to it, and I liked that one even more than Past Lives.
wow, wow. Okay, well that's good to hear that you liked it more than Past Lives, but they both are really good. So good to hear.
All right, well, I guess it's my turn. So
Oh God.
we're gonna start with the honorable mentions. Okay.
Okay.
So we're gonna start this thing off with the biggest movie event of the year, and that's Barbie. Barbie was a movie that I think had gold at its fingertips, and sometimes with the real world stuff, I think it kind of fell flat. But this is one of the funniest movies I've seen in a long time. It's
Mm.
really poignant. It's incredibly well written. If Ryan Gosling wins the Oscar for this, I won't be mad at all because he's incredible. And I thought Margot Robbie was every bit as good. And Greta Gerwig movies have just become an event at this point, and I'm glad for that because
Right.
she's 3 for 3. Extraction 2 is one of the best action movies of the year on Netflix, and I liked the first Extraction. I loved the second Extraction. They raised the bar a ton, and Chris Hemsworth, this is the
Wow.
type of stuff that you need to be doing, and I can't wait to see what he brings to the table with Furiosa coming out in May. So that's, keep that momentum going, Chris Hemsworth. Uh, Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour. Maybe this isn't something that should be on this list. I just feel like I had to shout it out
Okay, fair.
because I had such a good time
Okay.
watching this,
I
and it
thought you
was
weren't
so
going to grade it,
entertaining.
but I feel you.
It's not on my list, Brandon. It's
Okay.
on my honorable mentions. Creed 3, another one that I had such a good time with it, and Michael B. Jordan, a superstar. Can't wait to see what he does in front of and behind the camera next. The Creator is one. It's one of the best looking movies of the year, and it did resonate with me emotionally, especially the child performance. I thought that she was really good. Brandon,
I
can
thought it was going
suck
to
it.
make your list.
No, Creator's not on my list. Back-to-back horror. Let's go Evil Dead Rise, which is just a fantastic. If you're looking for a gory time, do a double feature of the 2013 Evil Dead and the Evil Dead Rise. And I still need to watch the original trilogy of Evil Dead movies. That's something that Brandon and I will probably get to at some point, maybe October
Yeah.
when we're doing more horror reviews. But Evil Dead Rise and then Talk to Me was another one that I loved the
Ooh.
way it opened, and I loved the way it concluded. It reminded me a lot of The Sixth Sense as far as kind of the vibe of the movie. And if you've seen it, you probably understand that. But Talk to Me, one of A24, I'm pretty sure it's A24, one of A24's biggest hits. Suzume came very close to making my list, but it just missed out. But man, oh man, this thing knocked me on my ass, and I cannot wait to watch it again. It was a big animated surprise for me, as was Nimona, or as Brandon calls it, Pneumonia. Nimona on Netflix would have been Blue Sky's best movie. In fact, I'm going to credit it as Blue Sky's best movie as far as I'm concerned, because
I mean, it's Blue Sky.
Usually they
like whether they
usually they make fine animation movies that you just watch and you forget that you watched it as soon as you leave the theater. And this wasn't like that at all. So I've got to give him credit for that. Maestro. Everyone on Twitter just hating on Maestro.
Yeah, people calling it Maestro. Yeah.
Well, suck my ass, Stro. I thought this movie was fantastic. Bradley Cooper's great. Bradley Cooper, the director, is even better. And Carey Mulligan is just the best. Carey Mulligan, if this wasn't such a stacked year for female performances, I think she could have taken home an Oscar for her work.
Yeah, fair. I'll say 20th best movie for me. I knew it was going to be close on your honorable mentions. I'll go ahead and give just one opinion. I really liked the camera change where they changed eras and it went from like black and white to like color. That was absolutely awesome. That was such a great directorial decision. I thought it was great.
The stuff in color is a lot more interesting than the stuff in black.
Obviously.
I think that the first 30 or 40 minutes starts off a little slow. And then once we really get the cathedral scene is just like, oh my God, it's so good.
I mean, Bradley Cooper should be nominated for strictly his ability to like compose, like straight up.
Best director. I think that best director won't win. We'll get to that, but I think that he definitely deserves a nomination.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna do something that I've never done before. And I hate doing it. I think it's a cop-out, but I think it's fair to do on this list. I'm going to tie number 10. Now, I'm going to tell you which one I think is the official number 10. I'm going to tell you which one is the official. But I'm going to tie Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 and John Wick Chapter 4. Now, if I had to pick one, I'm picking Mission Impossible. But those two were just the action standard of the year. Tom Cruise doing it once again. I thought Haley Atwell was a really good addition to that cast. I thought that her and Tom Cruise had fantastic chemistry. Rebecca Ferguson, always really good in those movies as well. Simon Pegg, criminally underrated. And then John Wick Chapter 4. I think that it would have been on my list and high on my list if the last 5 minutes...
The ending.
I've got problems.
Same.
I've got problems.
So John Wick's ending, right? Yeah. It's just, yeah.
But that if it wasn't for the ending, it'd be higher on mine too. I'm with you.
But the 2.5 hours that preceded it, action heaven.
The stair scene that you mentioned
fantastic.
Last podcast.
The overhead shot with
that was a video game like shot. Yeah.
And I mean in the best way possible. The scene with him in that room with all the art in it, and it just goes for like 25 minutes.
It just goes on. It just goes and goes and goes and goes. And it's like, this is so great. It's so awesome.
And it's also one of the best looking action movies I've ever seen. The one with him and the guy after the poker, where they're at the club. Oh my God. Everything in that looks absolutely beautiful. Yeah. So I've got to tie those two movies, but I do prefer Mission Impossible because the ending of John Wick just left me like, that just felt a little bit off.
Because you could argue that those two are the two best action movies, I'm actually okay with you tying them, if that makes sense.
That's the only reason why I would tie them, is because they're so similar.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, if you want to just say, Mitchell, you got to pick one, I'm picking Mission Impossible because John Wick just leaves me a little sour at the end after enjoying so much of it, where I think Dead Reckoning with that train sequence just ends on such a good note. That is one of the most tense things
I can't
I've
wait
seen
for
in
how part 2
this year.
picks up. Like that's
Number 9. And no one's mentioned this one yet, so I get to be the one to talk about it. That's Poor Things. Emma Stone. Emma Stone. Now I know that it's going to be close between Emma Stone and Lily Gladstone. We're going to have a Stone off for the Best Actress Oscar this year, and I loved what Lily Gladstone did, but I think Emma Stone should take home that golden statue because she does things in this movie that I've never seen before, and I'm not just talking about spending like half of the movie just completely naked getting railed. That's in the movie, and it's something that you have to be prepared for because there are people walking out
I mean,
because they weren't prepared for just how graphic of a movie it is.
Yeah.
But it explores this character of Bella in such an interesting way to where she really has like it's actually kind of similar to Barbie if you think about it, where it's a woman discovering what life and femininity and all of this stuff is. It's really funny. It's expertly directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. I love The Favorite. I don't love this as much as The Favorite, but it's really high up. Mark Ruffalo. If he wins the Oscar, I will not be upset at all because he is so funny in this movie. You hate him. He's an asshole.
I think
he
he's
plays that role
unintentionally funny
so well.
He's
so good in this.
So good. Yeah.
Willem Dafoe is good, and I want to give props to there was a part in the movie where I felt like, all right, we're getting a little repetitive here. Is it just going to be Emma Stone taking back shots for like 10 straight minutes? Let's pick up the pace. Let's do. And then Christopher Abbott appears, and the movie takes a whole different turn that I did not expect at all, and won me completely back. And I almost wanted to stand up in my chair and just say, bravo, that was a great script writing choice. But Poor Things.
Can't wait to see it tomorrow.
I
hated that I'm watching it tomorrow before this list.
Hey, I get that because Brandon and I are getting to see American Fiction on Thursday, and that's a movie that I'm like, I feel like that could have made this list, but when we do our January movie recap, Brandon, maybe we can make an
retroactively put it.
List.
I was gonna say 13 for me. That's why I left it for you. Just an incredible movie. Like what I was talking about last podcast with originality and just like keeping that trend going. Like this movie is as original as it gets, and I'm all for it. Like the set pieces too are just like what they do with how Paris looks, how Cairo looks is just
one of the most
really
interesting
awesome.
movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, really interesting movie.
Number 8. Brandon, I'm gonna beat your ass for not putting Godzilla -1 on this list.
Fair.
Because Godzilla -1, oh my God, Howie, you said it best. Just an absolute shock. And I thought I enjoyed Godzilla vs. Kong. It's a completely different type of movie. Mm-hmm. And the new Godzilla vs. Kong, like seeing trailers for that, it's like, this ain't fucking Godzilla. That's not.
Yeah, that's literally. I was like, "What?
wait, they're teaming up. They're fighting someone."
That Godzilla wouldn't hold a candle to the Godzilla and Godzilla -1. This I like. There are people that like Godzilla as a hero, not me. Right. I like Godzilla to be a villain. I want Godzilla to be wrecking shop, and that's exactly what you get in this thing. Godzilla is horrifying, but it's the characters of this movie that really make it special. The fact that you care about every single person that you come across. It's a story about a kamikaze pilot that fails to do his duty and survivor's guilt and living with that and moving on and new beginnings and PTSD. It's so interesting in a way that a Godzilla movie has never been before. You watch a Godzilla movie, anyone, and I liked the 2014 Godzilla. I liked Godzilla vs. Kong. But the human characters were never this crucial to the story. And in this one, they are the heart and soul. Godzilla's barely in the movie. When he is, you feel it, though, when he's in it. Let me tell you that right now. If you have yet to see this, you fucked up. I'm not going to, because I don't know if it's going to be in theaters much longer. I think you might have like a day to go see Godzilla -1, maybe. If you didn't see it in theaters, you made a mistake, and the best
Yeah.
you can do is hope to rectify that whenever it hits streaming or DVD or Apple rent for a day. But this was an event, and Brandon and I had the entire theater to ourselves because we saw this thing before the hype really took off for it, and I saw it again about a week and a half later, and that theater was full. So people
Yeah.
very clearly got the message that Godzilla minus one was worth the time.
Yep. Without question.
Number 7. I like talking about movies that no one's talked about yet, but I have a feeling that it might come up later. My number 7 movie is Air.
Okay. Okay.
Brandon's
Oh, me
shaking
too.
his head.
Oh, no.
Brandon's shaking his head. Hey, 5 through 7 was a knife
No,
fight.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I
And
agree with you.
5 through 7 was a knife fight, and unfortunately, Air brought an Air Jordan to that knife
Oh,
fight, so
please.
it lost. It got number 7, but this is an example of, we talked about like cinematography and inventing something new with poor things. And Air is a good example of sometimes you don't need to do that. You just need a fantastic director, a great script, and charismatic as hell actors bringing their A game
Mm-hmm.
to make a movie that I want to watch over and over again. And that is exactly what Ben Affleck does. Who, welcome back to the director's chair, Ben Affleck. We missed you. We love The Town. We love Argo. I haven't seen Gone Baby Gone, but I'm sure I'll love that, and we love Air as well. Matt Damon, what a year for Matt Damon, making all the dad movies. Just love it for Matt Damon. Ben Affleck was good in this. Viola Davis, limited screen time, but she's great. Chris Tucker's in this, and he's fantastic. Chris Messina, this movie has it all. Jason Bateman,
Right.
I forgot he was in it too. He's also amazing. If you have not checked out Air, it's on Amazon Prime. Be sure to give it a watch. I as a basketball fan, I loved it, but as a movie fan, I loved it even more. And number 6, number 5 and number 6, I went back and forth and back and forth. I stayed up all night. No, I didn't. I knew what my number 5 and number 6 were. My number 6 is going to
Me
be
too with the
my number 6 is going to be Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
I love it.
Had
I
to be
love
on
it.
this list. Had to be. I watched it a second time. I loved it
Hey.
even more. And I thought, there's no way that small movie that no one saw this movie. You messed up. This is directed by Kelly Fremont Craig, who also made The Edge of 17 back in 2016. And no one saw that either, but everyone showered it with praise. And I feel like this has kind of gone under the radar, and it shouldn't have because it's even better than The Edge of 17. Abby Ryder Fortune, Brandon, you said it best. Just a wonderful performance. I don't think she should be nominated for an Oscar just because of how stacked of a year it is
Yeah.
for lead actress performances. But you know who should?
Right.
Rachel McAdams in supporting. Rachel McAdams gives an absolutely Oscar-worthy performance in this as the mom. It's got Betty Safdie in it, and he's great. Kathy Bates. I love how it explores it explores religion. It explores puberty. It explores trying to make friends when you're in middle school, which sucks. It's a movie that two dumbass white boys like me and Brandon should not love as much as we
Right.
do, because it has so much to do with being an adolescent young woman. I've never been an adolescent young woman. I have no idea. I don't relate to this necessarily, but it made me relate to it because I cared about the characters so much. It was so well written. It was so funny. I identified with the struggles of the family, the mom and Margaret herself. If you didn't see this movie, and given the box office of this, you probably didn't, which shame on you. This movie deserved a lot better. Check it out. It's worth your time.
Yeah, it's
Damn.
such an awesome movie. Like I figured it was gonna be on your top 10. Honestly, like Godzilla minus one and that movie, like I can't tie them. Like I just like Are You There, God? It's
They're
Me,
not
Margaret.
similar at all.
Yeah, they're not similar at all. But in terms of emotional, like that's the second most emotional movie I saw this year. Like that's just like an awesome way to, like you said, like being a white male, like I shouldn't relate to this movie, and I just did. Like, I mean, it's just an awesome film.
All right, Brandon. 5 through 2, or 5 through
Okay,
1, rather.
so yeah, I was joking that like you had Air at 7. Like, come on, Mitchell, how could you? I have Air at 5.
It's not that
Air,
different.
yeah, it's not that different. God, this okay. Let me go for a second. This movie was made for me. Like this movie was, if they got in a lab and they're like, how can we make a movie that Brandon 2 is going to love? Like, it would be this movie. I've seen criticism of this movie. I've seen people who like are a little bit lower on it, would give it like a B, a C rating, like they just didn't connect with them. That is not me. This movie instantly connected with me. It connected with me so much that I saw it with my girlfriend Lindsay and thought I had saw it with Mitchell because of how much it connected with me. Because most of my great movie experiences are with Mitchell. And the fact that I was like, yeah, this has to be like a movie I saw with Mitchell. That is incorrect. I did not see this movie with Mitchell. I've never seen this movie with Mitchell, and I still absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it. The fact that they make the directorial decision to avoid showing one person's face in particular, and it does not take away from the movie, is quite remarkable to me. And I know they show him at like some point, but the fact that
I
they
feel
just
like you can
avoid
say
it.
who it is. Like, there have been interviews about it.
Okay,
They don't show
fair.
Michael
Yeah.
Jordan.
Yeah, they don't show Michael Jordan at all, except for like one scene. Michael Jordan's in one scene, if that.
You don't even see his
Yeah, you don't
face
see his
in the whole
face. You
movie.
don't see his face at all.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with it. Like, people were upset about it. No, that is a bold directorial decision, and I
Very.
stick by it with Affleck. Um, and Matt Damon, like you said, core dad movies. Matt Damon absolutely killed it this year, and people should be watching this movie. I think this movie did pretty well at the box office, but I hope it does even more on like streaming and eventually when it gets on like other platforms outside of Amazon at some point possibly, because that movie is absolutely thoroughly enjoyable. Yeah. So number 5 movie of the year for me, Air. Number 4, whew, I think there's a clear distinction between 3 through 1. Number 4 for me, I think this is one of the best made movies of the year. It's Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon. And
4.
I knew it. I need a
I
top
thought I thought I thought it was going to be a top 3 movie. Like, just had a feeling. I was like, this has to be a top 3 movie. This is a really good movie. There's like, most years it probably would be a top 3 movie. Most years it'd probably be the best movie of the year. Um maybe, man. I mean, it might be on some years. Some years it might be.
better than Maverick.
It's not better than Maverick. Let's come on.
He said, no,
Let's not.
that's not what I said.
But my point is that like most years it would be like even higher than 4. Yeah, it's just an awesome movie. It's gonna be on people's list, so I'll save the talk for later. But Lily Gladstone, her and Emma Stone, I think, can we not just give them both the Oscar?
The
Like, I know that's a
Stone-off.
cop out. I know it's a cop out. Can we just give them both the Oscar? Can we just?
We're having 2 queens go against each other. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be Emma Stone, but
I think it's
Lily
going to be Emma
Gladstone did a
Stone,
great job.
but I'm actually really. This is why I'm glad that the Golden Globes, and I don't think they should do this, but the fact that they separate them, I'm actually okay with that because I think they should get
Let her get her
recognition.
flowers.
Yeah, let them get their flowers, and I'm so happy that Lily Gladstone won a Golden Globe for this. I mean, DiCaprio's awesome. I think he might be overshadowed a little bit, but like when I watched this on rewatch, I actually didn't get to rewatch this. When I watch it again, I mean, DiCaprio's character might be even better. Like, I think he does a really good job. De Niro is awesome as he always is, and Scorsese, Scorsese knows how to make movies, and he knows how to make movies that connect script, writing, and music, and that man just gets it. And I just absolutely love his work, and yeah, I'm so happy that this movie made my top 10 and my top 5 as the number 4 best movie of the year. It is absolutely fantastic. Um so there's a
Okay.
clear distinction between 4 and 3 for me. Um my number 3 movie of the year is The Iron Claw. Um I saw this movie with Mitchell,
You did.
was trying to fight back tears. It's an emotional story. If you don't know the story of the Von Erichs, I would actually recommend not Googling it. Going to go see this movie or seeing this movie and then Googling it. But just forewarned, it is a heavy, heavy movie. This is the heaviest movie of the year. And it's not even close. It's so heavy that they had to take a member of the family out of the story. Like that's how heavy the movie is. Um, I love the directorial decisions. I love the wrestling scenes. Like the wrestling scenes don't like I don't know. Like have you seen The Wrestler, Mitchell? Like
I have not.
I've seen part of The Wrestler and some of the wrestling scenes in The Wrestler. Like I don't think it lines up with that. Like I don't think it like matches like toe to toe with that one. But I mean they're really good wrestling scenes, and then just the way the story is written is what it's about. Like I said this on last podcast, I think this should have been a 2 hour and 30-minute movie. Like I think they should have gone
I agree with you on that.
further with it. They should have included the character that's missing. They should have dug deeper. They should have went more into it because I couldn't look away. Like I don't. I mean, it's just incredible. And that original song at the end of the movie, and then the original song that the one of the characters sings. I was waiting for like 3 weeks, 2 weeks for that movie to finally release on Spotify so I could listen to it because it was just like stuck in my head. The way they connect like that, like I don't know if it's gonna win original song at the Oscars. I think it should. Like that's how. I mean, I don't think it is, but
Barbie's had that
I
locked
don't.
up.
yeah,
It's just a
Barbie's
matter of
had that
which
locked
one.
up. But yeah,
Is Iron Claw even eligible for the Oscars because of when it released
Oh yeah,
this
no,
year?
it is,
it's
but they just
eligible,
I
but
don't
Okay,
think it is going to really
it's
have a
not gonna
big
get
presence at the
anything.
Oscars. They didn't really push it.
interesting.
Like I
Yeah.
like that original song should be nominated. Like Zac Efron should be nominated. Like
A24 has been pushing Past Lives so hard
like
that
I
I
get it.
think
I
they
love Past
figured out what they
Lives.
have with Iron Claw.
Yeah, I love Past Lives, but the Iron Claw's on a different level. Um, I'll
Yes.
go ahead and give number 2 in one. I'll preface this by
Yeah, that's what
saying,
you have to do.
yeah, I know. I'll preface this by saying these two are basically tied in my like rankings, like score wise, but there's a clear number 1 for me.
Okay.
Spider Verse is number 2. Oh, I love Spider Verse. I can't get enough of it. The animation is awesome. The story is awesome. It has the best opening scene of the year and the best ending scene of the year, without a doubt. I
Oh,
you
Mitchell. I don't know,
you
Mitchell.
can argue that, Mitchell, but flat out, just flat
I'll
out,
talk about it. I'll talk about it.
flat out. I think that is the only one that even comes close is the movie that I have at number 1, and I'm gonna be honest. I don't think that ending scene matches up with Spider Verse. I don't think it does.
Okay.
Just
All
gonna
right.
be yeah. And when you have a movie that has that good of an opening and that good of a closing, and then everything in between is just kick ass, then you get one of the best movies of the year. And flat out, this would have been one of the best movies of the year, probably any other year, except the juggernaut that is number 1 movie of the year for me, Oppenheimer. The juggernaut that is Oppenheimer came out this year. And so it kicked Spider Verse just a little bit down and was like, this is the number 1 spot. And yeah, okay. I'm a Nolan fan. I love Nolan. This is one of the best movies of the 21st century. This is an incredible biopic. This man got people to go see a movie that's 3 hours long about Robert J. Oppenheimer. This man is the GOAT, the living legend of directors of our of this era. Like he is the best. Him and Scorsese, put them up next to each other because that's how good Nolan is. And this movie is awesome. I know it's going to be on everyone else's top 10, so I'll save my comments.
I
But
don't know that.
I mean, come on, let's get real. I mean, this movie is one of the best movies of the 21st century. The cinematography, the characters. I mean, this man. I mean, what did he say to people to be like, all right, Rami Malek, 5 minutes, like it's yours. Like here's 5 minutes. Like Robert Downey Jr., we'll give you 20 minutes. Go kill it. Like this man is just absolutely on a tear in this movie as a director, and just all the performances are just flat out awesome. It's just an awesome, amazing film. Number one movie of the year, Oppenheimer.
All right. Brandon, too, putting Oppenheimer at the top of the list. Spider-Verse getting the silver. Iron Claw taking home the bronze. Solid list. Solid list. And I'm sure that we'll be hearing a lot more about basically all of those movies coming up here soon. Howie, the floor is yours.
Okay.
Take it away.
All right. All right. I'll save some comments to the end when I talk about my top 5 because B2 and I are similar. There are some differences though. Number 5 for me, I'll go ahead and say it's Air. Air is number 5. My thoughts are pretty much the same as B2's. As somebody who is not the biggest basketball fan, I love basketball, but I'm not huge into it like some other people are. Seeing a movie that is about how Michael Jordan and Air Jordan became everything for Nike and not even having Michael in it is a very bold creative choice, and it worked to perfection. They did a fantastic job making the story about Michael in the shoe and Nike all into one. How were they able to focus on this player who came from UNC, who had issues, who was kind of raw in a lot of departments, and giving him not just a shoe deal, giving him pretty much part of the revenue sales at Nike, which is unheard of. And how it all came together, seeing how they put it together behind the scenes was just so interesting and captivating. And I loved Air. It was so good. Like you said, Damon was great. Literally Ben Affleck was amazing. Viola Davis was credible. All of the casts there were just on one. They were bringing their A game there. And Air was incredible. It's number 5 for me. But going into my top 4, I'm going to say this is the hardest top 4 I've ever had to make out of any list. Like it's a 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. That's how I look at it. You know, like because any of these 4 could be changed to be 1, 2, 3. It's that close. Because all of these movies I walked out of and I was like, bro, like that was a movie. like, oh man. And so I'll go ahead and say my number 4 movie. This one I saw 2 days ago. It just came in to the top 5 list. Is Iron Claw is number 4 on the list. As somebody who grew up a huge fan of professional wrestling, my dad's favorite wrestler of all time is Ric Flair. He loved Ric Flair growing up, and I didn't know the full story of the Von Erichs, but I knew like just a tad bit of that they've had a lot of stuff happen to them, and seeing how all of the cast just put this together in this film, and even seeing the wrestlers at the cast as Ric Flair and as somebody who was Harley Race, who was one of the most iconic wrestlers of all time, and putting them into this movie, and how just even the story of wrestling goes, because people see wrestling and it's like, oh, that's fake shit. Like they're like, that's just fake. You're thinking about like you'll be a world champion, like it doesn't matter. It's just a fake title. But seeing how much it matters to your status in the company, it's like you're a singer and you won a Grammy. That's how it seems like for a wrestler who is a world champion. It means everything to them. And seeing how Zach and the rest of the crew brilliantly acted in this movie, and just seeing the tragedies that go with it and the dark side of wrestling, because it is pretty dark in general. Devon Eric's is one story, but there are many other stories of wrestling, as I'm sure if you are a wrestling fan know. Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, the list goes on and on for all of the dark side of wrestling. It's dark. And seeing them put this into a 2 hour and like what 18 minute film, maybe a little bit shorter than that. And I agree, it should have been 2 hours and 30, because I think they could have went even deeper. And it was incredible. I loved it. I saw it with my friend Annette on Sunday, and I was so excited to see it. And just coming out of it was like, wow, that was really good. And my friend Annette does not watch wrestling at all, doesn't have any knowledge of it, and she was even like, that was amazing. Like seeing something like that, to really to an industry that is so hard for people who don't know about it, and seeing it and loving it, to somebody who has been a part of it. My cousin is a pro wrestler. Just seeing how that is just incredible. So Iron Claw, I'll let Mitchell talk about it more later, because I know it's going to be on his list. I just have a feeling it's going to be there. So I'll let him dive more into it, because I know it's going to be up there. Number 3 on my list. So switching with B2 here is Killers of the Flower Moon. I loved Killers of the Flower Moon. Again, you guys nailed it with your thoughts earlier about it. Lily Gladstone, she deserves the awards, and I'm sure as much as Emma Stone does. When I see Poor Things tomorrow, I'll throw a report back. But she deserves all of the flowers and the awards, because she was so good in this movie. Leonardo was incredible. De Niro was incredible. Scorsese, there's a lot of things that he says nowadays, especially his Marvel takes. And there's a lot of things that he says, but this dude can do no wrong when it comes to making films. He is the man. He might be one of the GOATs. When you think of movies, you think of Nolan, you think of Scorsese, you think of I would say maybe James Gunn can also be in that conversation. There's a lot of directors you can think of that are like, when they make a movie, you're gonna go check it out. That's how it is for me. And his movie is just incredible. And it's also bold doing a 3-hour movie talking about Native Americans in the 20th century, and how that all came about. It's a bold choice for a movie take, and I'm glad that he went down and told this story that was so unknown. Kills the Flower Moon, incredible. Again, I won't spend too much more time talking about it, because we're going to be definitely diving into more of it in a bit. But the top two here. Again, this is the hardest top 2 of my life. I've set this top 2 since July. It hasn't changed. But I kept going back and forth, and I was like, maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe this one should be number 1. I'm like, maybe this is the one. I don't know. And I think the reason why this movie is 2 is because I had not a bad experience, but I could have had a better experience of seeing it the first time, was Oppenheimer. It's number 2 on my list. Okay. Again, as for context, if you guys don't remember, when I saw Oppenheimer for the first time, I just came back from Korea. I was battling jet lag. I almost fell asleep during Oppenheimer the first time I saw it, because I was fighting jet lag. I tried to Barbieheimer it that day. I messed up. I really messed up. I saw it 2 more times after. Okay. I saw it in Dolby, I saw it in IMAX, and I saw it in IMAX 70 millimeter. The third time was the 70 millimeter.
Oh my god!
I don't think any movie like experience will top the 70 millimeter IMAX Oppenheimer. That was cinema. If you want to see cinema through and through, you see something 70 millimeter when it's available. That was top-notch experience. I don't think anything's gonna top that as far as like watching a film. It's different experiences like in Spider-Man No Way Home and like Avengers Endgame. Like that's different experience. But as like seeing a movie in a theater in its best quality, the sound, IMAX 70 millimeter was incredible. Nothing's gonna top that. Oppenheimer, I again, I don't want to spend too much time talking about it, because I know it's going to be in our top 3. It's just going to be that for everybody. So, and Mitchell's doing the shrug. I know it's going to be in the top 3. I know it is. I won't spoil it, but I know it's going to be in the top 3.
We could put Blue Beetle in
what
there.
An incredible movie. What's that?
We could put
Blue Beetle?
the Flash.
It could be Blue Beetle. My top 5 is just nothing but Blue Beetle.
It could be May, December. You never know. Like,
yeah, it could be all DC movies.
Mitchell surprised me last year when Everything Ever All at Once made his top 10. So like I can't, anything's possible nowadays.
I promise I don't have one of those up my sleeve. That was a lot of fun to do last year.
So number 1.
That was fun.
Number 1 for you, Howie.
Well,
yeah.
Number one, I guess it's easy to say, but Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is number one. I can't believe they made a movie better than Into the Spider-Verse. Like,
So
how?
true.
Literally
So
seeing Into the
true.
Spider-Verse, I'm like, this is cinema pure and through. And there's no way Across Spider-Verse is going to be better. And it was. In every way, shape, and form. Like,
True.
the acting was incredible. The animation style was incredible. I've seen this movie, I think, at least 8 times now. Like, I can't get enough of watching this. It's so good every time. It just hits when you want it to hit. It's emotional, it's action paced. The cast was incredible. Just everything about it was just amazing. And I can't even get enough of Spider-Verse. It's number one on my list this year. And again, this top 4 is so interchangeable. Like, at any moment I could rewatch it and be like, oh, actually, Kills the Flower Moon should be one. You know, any of these movies are just so interchangeable for me. So that is my top 5. Spider-Verse takes home number 1 on mine.
Well said, Howie. Well said. We'll have some agreements, we'll have some disagreements, and I'm just gonna go ahead and dive right in. And we have a lot of movies that are similar, so it's gonna be kind of tough to talk about these, but I'll bring my own perspective. Number 5 is Killers of the Flower Moon. Martin Scorsese brought it with this one. Let me tell you, you guys seem very surprised that I have Killers of the Flower Moon.
5. Oh.
And let me tell you, I thought about putting this at 6 because I loved Are You There, God? It's Me,
Yeah,
Margaret
fair.
that much.
Ooh.
But number 5, Killers of the Flower Moon. I hate you guys because not a one of you said the words Robert De Niro in either of your
Yeah, we did.
reviews.
No, we both did.
We
both
did.
did.
Yeah, calm down.
I hate myself for being deaf.
Yeah,
and not
I
hearing
said
that you
De
guys
Niro
said
was
that.
as good as DiCaprio, if not better.
I didn't go so deep. I just did like a quick De Niro. Like, I gave him a quick nod.
Because personally, I think De Niro gives the best performance in this movie.
You could argue.
Oh, he's so good.
I think De Niro,
Phenomenal.
this is another one where I just cannot decide. Supporting actor is so stacked this year. De Niro gives the best performance I've seen from him in over a decade. And because he has to play both sides of things, he has to kind of give off a public appearance, and he has to be kind of a complete shady dick behind the scenes. DiCaprio, DiCaprio plays a dumbass so incredibly well after years and decades of being suave, and whatever he was doing in Django Unchained that wasn't suave, but you could tell that he was kind of smart, but just an ass.
Yeah.
This, he has to be, the world kind of pulling one over on him. And Lily Gladstone, again, top level performance of this year. If she wins the Oscar, good for her. That it'll be well earned. This is some Jesse Plemons in limited screen time.
You said something
man
to me
always
that
hits.
really stuck out. Jesse Plemons does not pick bad projects.
No, he doesn't.
And that man was great in this movie. He was great.
Despite some, I don't know how Civil War is going to be, but I know that Jesse Plemons is going to bring his A game in that. And the fact he's even in it makes me think, all right, apart from Battleship, 12 years ago.
Right.
Jesse Plemons picks really good projects and really interesting projects that challenge him and really stretch his range. So, Killers of the Flower Moon, if you have not seen it, it'll be on Apple TV next week or maybe even Friday. I know at some point soon it's going to be on Apple TV. So if you didn't see it in theaters, because of the runtime, which is, I think, the thing that keeps it from being top 3, I think it is a little long. And I have no problem with long movies, but
hour is tough to get through. It is.
For me, it's the beginning of it where it kind of struggles a little bit, and then I know a lot of people love the way it concludes. It didn't hit as hard for me as I wanted it to, but I appreciate Martin Scorsese for taking that shot.
It's a very interesting conclusion and the way they go about it, and you just have to watch it to form your own opinion. Because I'm not going to spoil that because that is just a very interesting conclusion.
I have a lot of appreciation for what he did there. So even though if it didn't hit for me personally, I know there are people out there that it really did. So I can't be mad at that at all. Number 4, Brandon said he was going to beat my ass if this wasn't on this list, but it is, Brandon. So put the boxing gloves away. The Iron Claw is here
Thank God.
at number 4. Yeah, get your claws out. This movie is going to be the most overlooked thing at the Oscars because it is. I don't think it's going to get nominated for a single thing, and that is a travesty. Sean Durkin as a director. I've never heard of Sean Durkin before. I will be on the lookout for anything Sean Durkin does after this. I am not a wrestling fan at all. I think it's actually quite lame and stupid, but for someone who doesn't like wrestling, I sure as hell like a lot of wrestling movies. Between this and Fighting with My Family in 2019, that was a great movie, and this is even better. Zac Efron, you're not going to get nominated for an Oscar. I'm just going to go ahead and say that right now. You're not. But I want, if Zac Efron hears one thing, well, I mean, I'm sure he's heard much better things than my dumbass. But if he hears one thing this award season, I want him to know this. Leonardo DiCaprio brought a fabulous performance in Killers of the Flower Moon. A-grade stuff. And you were better. Yeah. I want Zac Efron to take that to heart. That I feel like everyone, like Zac Efron wants people to take him seriously. I know that he's good with the High School Musical stuff.
Yeah.
And he's a charismatic guy, and he's funny, and he's been in all these different types of musicals and comedies, but I can tell that Zac Efron really wants to show off his dramatic chops, and buddy, you did it. Everyone should be taking you 100% seriously. He's amazing in this movie. It's one of the best performances of the year.
It's one of the best performances of the year. It's his best performance as an actor, full stop, ever.
Yeah.
It might not be topped. Like, this man transformed his body to do this role. And I don't think people are talking about that enough. Like, the way he looks is just like incredible too. Like, he pulls it off. It's just fantastic.
Harris Dickinson is also very good in this movie as one of the other brothers. I'm a big Jeremy Allen White fan as someone who loves The Bear. That's my favorite TV show of the year.
He was so good.
My only complaint with him is I wish he had more screen time.
Yeah.
But that's it, because when he's on screen, he's incredible. Lily James is really good in this. I think she needs more attention. Colt McElhenney as the dad.
He plays such a good, bad dad. Like, such a good villainous dad.
But I think they do a good job of not making... he is bad, but they do a good job of not just making every single thing that he does, dastardly and evil. You can kind of see what he's trying to do, but he's going about it in the complete wrong way. And another performance that I think deserves a lot more attention is Maura Tierney as the mom in this. Has a lot of time, or not a lot of time. She doesn't have a ton of screen time, but the scenes she has, she's spectacular. And this is something that Brandon was telling me when we were booking our triple feature for Thursday, American Fiction, Beekeeper, and the Book of Clarence. Really looking forward to it. Brandon said, there's only one showtime for the Iron Claw. And that's a real disappointment to me. This movie just came out late December, and it's already kind of on its way out of theaters. It's something that I really wish more eyes were on, and I get why. It's a really, really dark and depressing movie. And the last 2 minutes of this movie, good Lord, if you can keep your eyes dry during the last 2 to 5 minutes of this movie, you are a heartless bastard. Yeah. And I do not wish to know you. So that's where I'll leave it with The Iron Claw. Number 3. Every single movie on this list I love, but the top 3 movies on this list are movies that I'm going to carry with me for the rest of my life. Movies that I'm going to watch repeatedly over and over again. And number 3 is where we start with that, and that's The Holdovers. This movie is like if a warm hug was a movie. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I've seen this several times. It's on Peacock. It might be the most rewatchable movie of the year as far as I'm concerned. Paul Giamatti in this. Again, if Cillian Murphy was just not a thing, Paul Giamatti would be taking home an Oscar. Divine Joy Randolph is going to take home an Oscar. And Dominic Sessa, the whole thing about Dominic Sessa being someone that they just found while location scouting is about to become the new, did you know Viggo Mortensen broke his foot while kicking the helmet? where it's just kind of something that everyone knows, but whenever you talk about this movie, you kind of have to bring it up. Where, hey, did you know that they found this guy while
Yeah,
location
so I
scouting for the
wanted
movie,
to
and
get
he's
that for
this
you
good?
because you told me that, and I was like, "There's no way." Like he might be. I mean, out of sight of Giamatti, he might be the best part of the movie. Yeah, it's just incredible.
He's another one that I really hope gets an Oscar nomination.
It,
Like, I know people are really
yeah,
high on Charles Melton from May December. He
right.
doesn't hold a candle to Dominic Sessa and the Holdovers to me personally. I think he's great. I love the way that this story just keeps moving, but it never, and it's such a personal story, but it always just feels like you're hanging out with this group of people over the holidays, and you're
Mm-hmm.
just getting to know
Right.
them, and you're just spending time with them, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad. If you haven't seen it, you owe it to yourself to do so. I would recommend it in the month of December. It's kind of a Christmas movie, and I wish that
Way
Peacock
more of
had
a
released it
Christmas movie
just
than
a
Die
little
Hard.
bit.
Just so you know, Mitchell.
Well, this joins Die Hard now as a list of movies that I'm going to come back to, and I know what you're going for, and you can suck it. Die Hard's a Christmas movie, and so is The Holdovers, and they're both fantastic Christmas movies that deserve to be watched by lots of people. I'm not going to acknowledge you.
Fair.
Number 2. All right, now we're getting down to the nitty gritty. I had a lot of trouble coming up with which one was 1 and which one was 2. I went back and forth.
Yeah.
I really did stay up late, just constantly. I might change my opinion right now.
Is it like
I'm
the Pam meme, or is it like hold up the two pictures? They're both the same. Like, is it that?
no, because
They're
they
both
are
the same picture.
they are very different. But I will say before I announce my number 2 that this would be my number 1 in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be my number 1 in
Okay.
2021. It'd be my number 1 in 2020.
Preach.
It'd be my number 1 in 2017. It'd be my number 1 in 2015. It'd be my number 1 in 2013. It'd be my number 1 in 2011.
Yeah.
So this is a movie that I hold in very high regard. And it would be very high most years. Actually, number 1 most years. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse taking the number 2 spot. And if you had told me that it would have been number 2 when I left that theater, I would have punched you in the throat because I have anger problems, apparently. So this thing, my God, I loved Into the Spider-Verse, but I agree with Howie. I think this is better. I think that the animation style in this, they just were like, I don't want to say I don't care if they were abusing the animators, because I want the animators to have their rights, and I want them to be able to see their families. And if that means that we don't get the part 3 for 8 years because you give them more time, then that's what happens. But the animators went apeshit on this. They lost their damn minds in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Because this is the most beautiful movie I've ever seen. I loved looking at this movie. If I just watched the movie with the sound off, it would have been a top 10 movie of the year, just from looking at it. But then you turn the sound on, and first, the score is incredible. Daniel Pemberton, you want to talk about somebody losing their mind in the best way possible. This was just, I mean, all the flowers
should he
in
win?
the world.
He should win. Score, right? He won't.
I'll get to it.
But he should.
I'll get to it. I love the fact that this movie opens with Gwen Stacy. And you don't even see Miles Morales for about 20 to 25 minutes of this movie, because it opens with Gwen Stacy, who was very much a side character. A side character you liked and got to know a little bit, but a side character in that first movie. And by the end of the first 20 minutes of this, I would die for Gwen Stacy in this movie. And then you keep meeting people. You meet Spider-Man India. You meet why am I blanking on Daniel Kaluuya's character's name?
Spider-Punk.
Yeah, you meet Spider-Punk, and you get reacquainted with Peter B. Parker. And I just love, but it's about Miles and his family. It's such a good story about growing up. It's a story about discovering who you are. I'm at a loss for words.
Yeah.
It's a 2.5 hour kids movie.
Yeah.
That's not a kids movie; it's an animated movie. But the fact that
Bangs.
but I went there, and every single time I went to see this movie, people were clapping at the end. They were surprised by the fact that it left off the way that it did. And Brandon, I do agree that the end of this, phenomenal, and I think it is great leaving off point. The Spot, I love the development of
Yes,
that
the
character
villain.
and how
Can we talk about the Spot?
and how he goes.
He's a D character in the comics.
And how he goes from being this goofy ass, not even a threat, to the scariest thing ever. I love that. I thought that was fascinating to watch. Yes, it is very, hey, look at this over here, look at this over here. It can be overload.
It's all over the place.
But I think it's well told, well written, well executed overload that I watched 5 times in theaters, and I've watched it twice since it came out on Netflix.
Yeah.
I have it on DVD. This is a movie I'm going to come back to over and over and over again, and I'm sorry. But you're number 2.
I mean, it's hard.
It's
fair. Hard.
It's hard. It's a tough year.
Work, buddy. Work.
Let me take a minute
Cook.
because I'm about to go off.
Cook. He's rolling the sleeves up.
The number 1 movie of 2023 is Oppenheimer. Christopher Nolan, you sick son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
My God, this man. I don't even know what to say. This man is going to win Best Director because if he doesn't, I will.
They should stop. They should stop all the award seasons and just
all of them. This is the best directed movie I think I've seen in the last, at least since Damien Chazelle with La La Land. Mm-hmm. I think that's the only one that I can think of that's close. Christopher Nolan with Oppenheimer brought his A game. I would die for Christopher Nolan between Memento and Batman Begins and The Prestige and The Dark Knight and Inception and The Dark Knight Rises and Interstellar and Dunkirk and fuck you, Howie, Tenet as well. I was
about to say,
just consistently brings his A game.
I mean,
he does it with Oppenheimer.
Name a miss. There isn't one.
Tenet.
There isn't one.
Tenet.
I'd say Insomnia is not that great, but that's 2002.
We watch Insomnia. We watch it. I don't know.
Oh, we will. Oh, Brandon, we will get to that. Yeah. We will get to that. But Cillian Murphy gives the best lead actor performance I think I've ever seen, at least in the last 20 years. This is an instantly iconic performance that should have him taking home a golden statue. What he does without saying any words cannot be taught. Robert Downey Jr. in this movie makes the most of limited screen time. I think that Florence Pugh is great. Emily Blunt definitely deserves an Oscar nomination for this. Matt Damon, unbelievable. A lot of performance. Dane DeHaan, really good as just a slimy weasel that, I think he's done that in a few movies this year.
Who's
Dumb
the actor,
Money comes to mind. But
who's the actor that you always see in movies and you're like, that guy should get more roles? Like, that's how good he is.
Jason Clarke.
Yep.
Jason Clarke is Roger Robb in this, and I haven't seen him in a whole lot lately. But this, he just brings every single thing he's got. David Krumholtz, unbelievably great. I love Alden Ehrenreich.
I mean, it's a great role. It's just down the list of like great performances.
Why am I blanking on the dude's name? Josh Hartnett.
Yep,
another one. I need to see him in more stuff. Ludwig Göransson with the best score I've heard in quite some time.
This man cooks. Ludwig cooks.
I got scared. I got scared when I heard that Ludwig Göransson was going to be taking over as Christopher Nolan's composer because Hans Zimmer was doing Dune.
Yeah, Hans Zimmer.
And I'm like, Hans Zimmer with Inception.
I mean, he is the GOAT.
And like, Interstellar and Dunkirk and the Dark Knight movies. I just don't know if those shoes can be filled. And
Ludwig's backtrack was so good, though.
Ludwig Göransson looked at me directly in the face and said, those shoes are tough to fill, huh? Fuck those shoes.
He said, bet.
I don't need shoes.
Took a piss in those shoes. and proceeded to give us one of the greatest scores, I think, in the history of cinema with Oppenheimer.
Yep.
And Brandon,
Yep.
this is where I feel like I really have to go off.
Talk to him.
The last scene of this movie, I'll never forget being in that IMAX theater after having been there for Barbie, being in there for Oppenheimer at 10:30 p.m. for a 3-hour movie that was black and white for a lot of it. That was a lot of just people talking, and it was full. 10:30. Everyone knew they weren't getting out till 2. And the whole room was fixated on this. And Ludwig Göransson, Tom Conti is the actor that plays Albert Einstein, Cillian Murphy, Christopher Nolan, and I'll credit Robert Downey Jr. as well, because if it wasn't for his conversations, the ending wouldn't have the impact that it did. Deliver one of the greatest scenes, I think, in the history of movies at the end of this. The power that it holds, and just the terror that ran through my body watching the last scene of this movie cannot possibly be replicated by anybody else but Christopher freaking Nolan. And I've got to give major credit to that. When Christopher Nolan wins Best Director and this wins Best Picture, it's going to be the closest I've ever felt to hearing the words, "The New York Jets win the Super Bowl." Because I have been such a Nolan fan for so long, and his entire career led to that
so
exact moment.
So good.
And so that right there took Oppenheimer to a whole new level, because let me tell you, this thing was close. Spider-Verse on rewatch, it was angry. It wanted this.
Right.
But Oppenheimer, and up until that end, I thought maybe Spider-Verse gets there. Maybe Spider-Verse takes it. And then they delivered the ending. Nope. Oppenheimer, #1 movie of 2023.
Yeah. So I didn't change my grade on my list because I wanted to kind of keep it like under wraps. Like, oh, they have the same grade. Like, we'll see which one. Upon rewatch of Oppenheimer again for the 5th time and Spider-Verse for the 5th time, I think Oppenheimer's as close as you can get to a perfect movie. Like, it is that good. I still think the scene in Spider-Verse at the end, it just did something to me. But I can't argue against what you just said, Mitchell. Like, I think those two scenes are, quite frankly, I think Oppenheimer's last scene and Spider-Verse's last scene, I think those are some of the best last scenes I've ever seen in a movie. And I can't back down from you saying that, because the way Murphy looks at the camera and then the music is going behind him and it just like it continues to go, like it's almost like, what is it, like a train in the background just like chugging and chugging and chugging.
Yeah.
Like, it is just so great. It's so awesome. And yeah, I mean, I'm glad
so
someone said
crazy
it, Mitchell,
'cause, like,
because I agree that Spider-Verse is like the best movie I've like seen, you know, since like 2013 or whatever it is. But Oppenheimer is like one of the best movies of the 21st century. Like, it is just that good. It is just that
I'm with
good.
you on that, by the way.
The fact that those were back to back were crazy.
Yeah, that's the
But
crazy
you know what's
thing.
crazy? Because I know
Like,
you guys mentioned the ending scene for Oppenheimer, which I completely agree with you guys. But I think there's like a couple of scenes that I think stick with me the most. I think the nuke scene in Oppenheimer is the best scene in cinema history. Like, if I'm being honest,
test?
the test when you're
sick.
when you're feeling it, like you're feeling anticipation, and you're like, first of all, because you're like, this is not CGI, so how is this going to look? So you're like, okay, we'll see how this goes. And you just feel it, and then it just goes silence. It's silence for like 10, 15 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
The anxiety just builds up in your body, and then it just hits you. I'm like, this is the pure, like, this is the best scene I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Like, that one is the one that hits me, I think. And I think the ending scene also has got to be top 3 for me. That one sticks the most to me.
The speech that Oppenheimer gives after the successful detonation.
Yes,
Christopher Nolan.
Yes, that's
just
the one.
in his
Nolan.
bag. He's in his bag. He's just pulling stuff out. He's just like, I'm just better than everyone else.
Better than me.
Yeah.
Better than me specifically.
Josh Peck pushing the button. Great performance. Great
Incredible.
performance.
Loved it.
You
The
did a
fate of the
great job.
universe was on Josh Peck.
Oh man, what a movie! What a movie!
Yeah, it deserves number one for you guys. And again,
Like
it's either Spider-Verse, Oppenheimer. It's a close. It's a you can flip a coin. That's how close it is.
Mitchell knows that I love Blade Runner 2049. I love 1917. Those might be the best movies that Mitchell and I have seen together. And Oppenheimer clears it by a
Yeah,
whole lot. Like
clears.
clears those movies.
Clears.
It's just that good. It's just that good.
You know, I'm gonna have a question for Mitchell because he mentioned with Spider-Verse that movie would be number one in different years. If you could say in the last 10 years, if you're looking at your list from the last 10 years, was Oppenheimer, would it be number one in all of the past 10 years?
No.
Okay.
You forgot how
2
much
years
this guy loves La La Land.
There's 2 movies in particular, and they're both directed by the same guy, weirdly enough. 2016
That's
La La
crazy.
Land, 2014 Whiplash.
Yeah.
Okay. So it would come number two those years, but it's close.
So I'm with Mitchell on Whiplash. I'm not as with you on La La Land, but I get where you're coming from, and like that's where I think Oppenheimer is still one of the best movies of the 21st century because you just go like down the list from like 2023 all the way to 2000, and you won't find many movies that are better than that movie.
And if we're going since 2010, also not 2010 because of Inception.
Yeah, Inception's on its own like level.
That's fair. That's
but
fair.
Which this might be a better made movie, but Inception to me is just like
it's almost like Nolan like
oozes
learned
cool.
from Inception and was like,
he's been building to this movie his entire career.
Yeah, it's just the thing is his career is far from over. Like it's not like Tarantino where it's like,
oh no,
yeah,
he's gonna keep going.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I want to know what he's doing next. I know he's talked about he wanted to do a James Bond movie, which I'm like interesting, but I don't know.
Before we get to the bottom 10, Scorsese doing a Jesus movie for 80 minutes. What is going on? Like,
I knew that was gonna come up at some point.
I just think it's so funny. This man gives 3 hours to anything, and he's like Jesus, cutting it off 80 minutes. I just can't go past that.
I'm gonna give 3.5 hours to The Irishman. Jesus, you get hour 30. Nope, actually you get 80.
Yeah. I just think that's so funny. But yeah.
He's made several movies about Jesus though, so
no, fair.
Yeah.
But
all right, bottom 10. We're gonna start with bottom 5.
Okay.
Because Howie, I know you only saw like 7 movies this year.
Retired
41 movies.
It's not funny.
41 movies, all right, which is actually a lot for me.
That's true.
So I'm surprised I saw 41. I did see a lot of
that
rewatches.
AMC subscription. You got your money's worth.
Hey, look, you see one movie a month, it pays for itself at least. So 41's is not bad. We're doing pretty good there.
You got
especially in New York City.
A little over 3 a month.
Yeah, it's not bad. I want to do better this year, but not too bad. Okay, bottom 5 here because again, like I did not see as much as Mitchell and Brandon. The worst movie. Actually, should I start the worst movie or the 5th worst?
Work your way up to the worst.
Okay, we'll start with the 5th worst movie, which is number 37 on my list. Was Five Nights at Freddy's. Okay. This is up there. Okay, again, I love video game adaptations, but this movie was fine. It wasn't awful, but it was just fine. There's not really much to say about it. It was Five Nights at Freddy. We'll just move on from there. I saw this movie in December, The Equalizer 3. I saw it with my dad, and this movie was bad. Like I'm just gonna be honest. I think it had parts to it that were really cool, but I just didn't understand the movie.
Now,
I think I'm just,
or Hulu. It's on one of those.
Yeah, it is.
It's
funny because my dad loves buying movies digitally, and I don't understand why. But he is a digital buying movie guy. That's how he is. So when I was home, when I was at his house, he had so many movies that were 2023 that he bought, and I'm like, Dad, you can wait for this to stream or go to the movies. I don't know if you like going to movies or whatever, but Equalizer 3 we watched, and I was like, okay, this movie was not good. There wasn't really much I liked about it. Why are we seeing old man Denzel Washington just murder people like this? I don't know. Anyway, going on from that, my third worst movie, number 39 on my list. Probably one of the worst Marvel movies is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This one was definitely in the bottom 5 for me. The only thing good about this movie was Jonathan Majors, and we all know what's going on with him, but that was literally the only thing. There was nothing else about this movie that I liked. Marvel was just not in their bag on this one. It was like King should have been just way better, and Jonathan Majors did a great job with it, but they butchered this movie. Ant-Man movies, the first one was good. The last two were just not great at all, and they need to figure that out if they want to make more Ant-Man stories. The second worst movie, and I don't even really remember this movie fully, is Foe. This movie was bad. Like, there was, again, nothing good about this movie.
You found a bad movie that I didn't watch. So yeah, good.
I don't remember much of it because it was just, I wanted it gone from my brain. I just did not enjoy Foe. But again, shout out to the cast for what they try to do with that movie. Sometimes the scripts just don't be hitting. But by far the worst movie of the year is Expendables 4. What a joke of a movie that was. I don't even want to get into it because I'm gonna get mad. But I wanted to walk out so bad. Like, watching this movie, I'm like, this is trash. So that's my bottom 5. So I'll let you guys go ahead. But that's where I'm at.
All right, Brandon, do you want me to take this, or do you want
go ahead, because we'll have overlap. Or you'll have movies that wouldn't actually be on.
I don't think we will.
I think you'll have movies that I won't technically have on my bottom 10, but I'll just like briefly mention what I think about them.
All right, very, very, very brief. Honorable: Exorcist Believer, you were trash. Insidious: The Red Door, you were trash. Nun 2, you were trash.
Awful movie.
Saltburn, you weren't trash until the last like 20 minutes, and then you were trash. And then You People, you were trash.
Yeah.
Whoa. Saltburn in your bottom 10?
I mean, it's not in my bottom 10.
That was honorable mention.
Yeah, it's not in my bottom 10 either. But I hated that movie. It's one of the I hate that movie the most out of every movie this year.
Say it with me at once. Every
directorial decision
in that movie was horrible.
Just horrible. That movie had
I put it number 17.
Stop. That movie had so much potential,
number 17.
And it just I mean, if it hit for other people, good, but for me, nah. Like, that just did not work. Not work.
All right. Bottom 10 time. Number 10, Disney. You had a horrible, horrible, horrible year. And Haunted Mansion was awful. So bad. You had to drag my guy Lakeith Stanfield down into your mess. How dare you? How dare you make Lakeith Stanfield degrade himself to the level of being in this movie? This was a movie that it felt like no one gave a damn about, and they made sure to let you know by putting in as many brand names as possible. It was weird. It just awful movie.
Honestly, should have been a direct to Disney Plus movie.
It should have been. Yeah, that's what it deserved. Number 9, Disney. Welcome back. You had a horrible, horrible, horrible year, and you decided to tank one of your biggest commodities with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. My God, this thing was so bad. I was on board with the MCU. If 2022, I started off my best list with, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever was really, really good. And the MCU, you can't be doing that bad if you have movies like this going on. Well, you followed that up with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and you lost me immediately. And you haven't gotten me back since. This thing was atrocious, and it doesn't really mean anything because Jonathan Majors happened, and you blew it. Number 8. Disney, welcome back. You had a horrible, horrible, horrible year. And
the mouth's going to get you, okay?
And you made me sat through a movie that had me go, was Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull the worst Indiana Jones movie? And I still think it is, but the fact that I had to ask myself that question, and that I think it's debatable, shows you just how bad Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is. Oof. This thing stunk to high heaven when the most interesting part of the movie is a blatantly de-aged Harrison Ford at the beginning going on some treasure hunt. It's not good. And it gets worse. And I wish I could, because it is long.
Yeah, it's a long movie.
It is long. And I was in a theater on opening night with like 6 other people, which lets you know that this franchise is done. Number 7, Disney. All right, well, this isn't technically Disney. It's technically Fox, but Fox is owned by Disney, so I'll give you some blame for it, and that's The Boogeyman. This is a horror movie that had no scares whatsoever, bored me to tears. I wanted to leave this one so bad. It was my first F of the year. I had no fun watching The Boogeyman at all. Number 6, Disney. Again, not technically, but you own Fox Searchlight. And Fox Searchlight really usually makes a lot of interesting independent movies. You made Poor Things with Searchlight this year, but you also made Next Goal Wins. Taika Waititi, talk about a fall from grace. Oh my God. I defended Thor Love and Thunder. I will not defend you for this. This was a complete waste of time. The first 30 minutes were having me thinking this is going to be bottom 2. And then it picks things up a little bit, but everyone in this movie feels miscast, especially Michael Fassbender, who was actually horrible in this, as far as I'm concerned. But Taika Waititi, the problem comes back to you. And for someone who made Jojo Rabbit, this was a drop-off that I did not see coming. Number 5, Disney, I'll give you a break. You're not going to make another appearance on this, so congratulations, it's out of the way. However, you kind of contributed to this because superhero movies took a giant drop-off in 2023. And I think by the time Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom came out, no one really expected anything good. And we didn't even get average. We didn't even get bad. We got atrocious. This movie deserves more hate. This is really, really bad. This is the worst DC movie.
Yeah.
Think about that. This is my least favorite, at least, DC movie. I hate this more.
Over Wonder Woman 1984?
Over Wonder Woman 1984.
I can put up with Wonder Woman 1984. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Wonder Woman 1984 at least had a few moments where I'm like, maybe. Aquaman had nothing. I thoroughly hated this movie, and it made me want my money back, and I didn't even pay anything to see it. So, number 4 makes me feel a little bad because some people thought this was funny, and that's Joyride. I thought this was an incredibly unfunny movie. Stephanie Sue, this is one way to follow up Everything Everywhere All at Once. She has the most embarrassing scene I've seen in movies in the last 5 years. In this, it's quite painfully unfunny, and then it takes a turn that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. It's really bad, and there are a lot of people that really like it, but I think it was just like frat boy humor, but for girls, and that doesn't make it better. It's just still dumb, and I couldn't get down with this. Number 3, Meg 2: The Trench. That's too extreme. I had a lot of fun with that first Meg movie. It's dumb as hell, but I enjoyed myself. This one was boring as shit, and I never want to see it again. Number 2, Five Nights at Freddy's. The fact that there are people defending this movie lets me know that we have a large idiot population in the United States of America, and I'm not sure what to think about that, but there are way too many people taking up for this movie that has not a damn thing going on in it.
I just think they played the game and they like the fan service, and the fan service was not going to work for anyone who didn't play the game.
Go meet someone of the opposite sex or the same sex if you're into that.
I don't even
meet somebody. Hang out with people.
I don't hate the actress, but the cop is the worst character. One of the worst characters.
She is atrocious.
Hey, she's from You. You watch your mouth.
I like her as an actress.
I liked her in You.
Yeah.
I hate her in this.
Yeah. She was
atrocious. But so was Josh Hutcherson, and I know Josh Hutcherson can act.
Well,
but he's got nothing to work with in this.
They just have him
like
they
have him doing grade Q Inception in this.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say you can. That's hilarious. If people have seen the movie, that's what it basically is. But
it's so bad.
But
it's so uninteresting.
They've already greenlit a second movie, so get ready, Mitchell.
All right. Well,
it made what 700 million in the box office or something.
No, like they should have greenlit a second movie. Like, I mean, apparently people are gonna go see it.
I'll be there day one, regardless.
It's crazy that people went to go see it when it was on Peacock. Like,
Yeah, I saw it on Peacock, by the way,
Yeah.
so I felt good not contributing to the box office.
that's crazy.
Number one, Howie, we're on the same page with this one. Expendables is the worst movie of the year. This is the movie that it's very clear no one gave a shit about. They just said, let's put some money in this. We're not shooting on location at all. We're going to do green screen, and our green screen guy's kind of off, so we're going to have Bob over here who just he fills the printer with paper. We're going to have him handle the green screen and effects for this. He's never worked with any computer system before, so I'm sure it won't be good.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. Sylvester Stallone and what he did in this movie made me want to I didn't scream, but when I saw what they did with his character at the end of this, there's only like one other person in the theater, so I didn't feel bad. I audibly went, "Man, fuck you!" Like I was so upset with what they did with this because Sylvester Stallone. Fuck it, I'm spoiling this. I don't care.
Please do.
Brandon, have you
No,
have you
I
seen
haven't, but
Expendables?
please do.
Okay, so your bottom 10's invalid. So
Okay, I mean, not really, but okay.
Sylvester Stallone dies in the first 10 minutes of the movie. And he's burned alive. Except he's not. He replaced that with just a random person and had him burned to death while Sylvester Stallone was trying to recover a lucky ring and came back to be the good guy to save the day. He didn't want to be here for this movie because he knew it was terrible, but he still wanted to be the hero at the end of it.
Oh,
he still wanted the credit for saving the day. Yes, it's so bad. It made me angry in ways that movies don't make me angry anymore.
That's
but that is my number one worst movie of the year.
This is click on that link to go see the end of this movie. That is
surprise, bitches. Yeah. I have a number 0 movie.
I wanted to walk out.
He has a number 0.
I wanted to walk out then.
I have a number 0.
Whatever he died. When he died, I wanted to walk out then. I was done. I was like, I don't want to watch this now.
Expendables is my number 1 worst movie of the year, but I have a number 0 because Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is not a movie.
No, fair.
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is not something that should be quantified as art. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is just shit that happens and was there. Winnie the Pooh was just someone had an idea.
Forgot you were doing this.
Idea.
That is incredible.
Winnie the Pooh. I told you I had something planned for my Winnie the Pooh. Blood and Honey.
I forgot. It's credible.
This was just a movie that happened.
Yeah.
It was just people got together and that whole thing of Disney lost the IP domain of Mickey Mouse, so we're gonna have Mickey Mouse killing people or humping things, and it's just really that's your idea. That's where you want to go with this. You uncreative ass. No. Movies in that genre of, hey, Steamboat Willie, the IP expired. Let's make a movie of him shooting up a school or something. No. Don't do that. Have ideas. Agreed. That's not an idea.
Yeah.
That's a badly told joke in 3rd grade. So that's my number 0 movie.
God. Well, okay. I'll work my way down. Because, can we get to the Stallone thing real quick? Because... So they kill him off, and then he just comes back, and he's the hero.
Yep.
He comes back at the very end, saves them.
I'm going to see this movie just so I can put it correctly in my bottom 10. But that sounds like it would have been my 2nd worst movie of the year or 3rd worst movie of the year.
I wanted to walk out then. I literally saw. I was like, I don't want to see this movie. It sounds like Stallone. That was the only reason.
Stallone was just like, I want to be a hero of the movie, and then they're just like, all right, fuck it, he's not dead.
Yeah, reverse it. Hold on. So yeah, I'll do my bottom 10 real quick. These are movies that I gave. Yeah, I'll do my bottom 10. I'll just touch on movies that you touched on. This is more like a bottom 20, but I think it's important. Just to people know. These are movies I gave D's and below, or D minuses and below. The Shift, Ant-Man Quantumania, Indiana Jones, Next Goal Wins, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, bad movie. The Family Plan. I'm glad that was on streaming and I didn't go see that in a theater because what a waste of time. The Nun 2, 65, Saltburn, Rebel Moon Part 1.
65.
Yeah, Rebel Moon Part 1. And then we start cooking at Oregon Trail. Oregon Trail is where I'm at on this list. Not even a bottom 10 movie of the year for me. Like, actually, I got through it and was like, you know what? They killed a bunch of people. It didn't look good. Whatever. It was better than Haunted Mansion. And that's how bad Haunted Mansion was. And then Five Nights at Freddy, Inside. If you haven't seen Inside, watch the first 40 minutes and then turn the movie off, because there's no point in watching the rest of it, because it's William Dafoe trapped inside a penthouse for 2+ hours. If you want to watch a William Dafoe character act or like, I don't know, do his thing, then watch it. But I felt cheated by sitting there watching him for 2+ hours. Meg 2 is my 11th worst movie of the year. So I agree with you on Meg 2. Just absolutely awful. And that tells you how bad the Haunted Mansion was, that Oregon Trail is above it. Oregon Trail, not Oregon, by the way. Oregon Trail. It was a play on words.
Get it?
And it was so bad. It was so bad. Oh, okay. Bottom 10. Mitchell's gonna make fun of me because nobody saw this movie. I saw this movie. Old Dads. Bill Burr. What are we doing?
Old Dads?
What are we doing? Kevin Hart is in this movie. Just downright awful. You know what? I'm not even gonna waste time. Google it. I don't care. Old Dads. A movie that Mitchell should have saw, because quite frankly, I saw going around on Twitter, John Cena cooking a little bit with Peacemaker season 2.
Ooh.
Cooking a little.
I heard this was bad.
Like a movie that he wasn't cooking in, Freelance. Now, they start this movie. I do not care about this spoiler. They start this movie. They have a scene. They go through all this scene. And then a baby gives John Cena a CGI middle finger right up at his face. And that is a directorial decision they decided to make. And it goes downhill from there. 100%.
Oh, then you'll hate Expendables.
Oh, I'll tell you, it's gonna be one of my worst movies of the year.
That plays into that too.
Oh, it does. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So
just wait.
Freelance. One of the worst movies of the year. It's a Wonderful Knife. 126 on my ranking. Man, I actually didn't absolutely hate it. I thought maybe I was gonna die halfway through, because someone just randomly walked in, and I was like, why is someone coming to see A Wonderful Knife and they have an army duffel bag with them? Am I about to lose my life here? Didn't happen. I'm still here. But
thanks for clarifying. I didn't know.
But It's a Wonderful Knife. Not good. And by the way, it's not. It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Knife. Is the title of the movie.
A Wonderful Knife.
Yeah, it's a Wonderful Knife.
Get it?
It's a Christmas movie about horror. So there you go.
Don't see movies based on puns.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Aquaman. Mitch already covered it. Bad movie. I honestly might be past. I think I'm at 10. So yeah. So let's just go ahead. What happens later? I walked out. It's so bad I walked out.
Ooh.
Just a terrible rom-com. I just did not like any of the decisions in it. Google it. I'm not gonna waste people's time. Just a terrible, 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 terrible movie. I actually walked out of it to go see It's a Wonderful Knife. So what a great
So you walked out of 2 movies.
What a great bad movies back to back. Let's see. Not gonna touch on this for much. Is Bruce Willis's last movie apparently. Assassin. Just not good. Not great. You could tell Bruce Willis isn't there. Yeah, they just didn't give him a lot of lines either. It's kind of sad, honestly. I was actually excited to see it because there's Bruce Willis, and then I got halfway through and was like, oh, I could see why this has a 19% on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever it is. It's just just not a good movie. Mitchell's gonna make fun of me because this is one of those smart to toothbrush old movies. War of the Worlds: The Attack. Is
straight to smart fridge movies.
Straight to smart fridge movie. I was actually excited because I like the War of the Worlds. I was just watching it to like watch it. It's definitely like a
like the book.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely like a fan made film. Honestly, the shots are not that bad. Like if Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey could do anything, like they should like learn from this movie. You know, as like this is how you make a fan film. It's still not a good movie, but you know, it's better than some. And so we get to my bottom three. Back on the Strip, number 131 for me. I thought this movie was about like magicians. The guy is a magician. Turns out this movie's about strippers. I did not walk out. I stayed through it, but my God, it was a bad movie. Yeah, we're not gonna waste people's time. I saw this one on Peacock, number 2, The Price We Pay. Think Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, but the budget was bigger. That's what The Price We Pay is. A horror movie that's just
the price they paid for that.
Yeah, the price we paid for that. Just terrible.
He says it, then he just bounces
absolutely.
off. He's back.
I'm back. Unstable connection because it was so bad. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up. Mitch already covered it. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is not even a movie. Shouldn't be considered a movie. I knew it was going to be bad. I saw it for the sole purpose of saying that I have seen it. It's not me hating. I think fan films should be made. But do not do this ever again. Do not do something like this ever again. And yeah, one of the worst things I've ever seen with my own eyes. And I've seen all 3 Human Centipede movies. So there you go.
A scathing indictment from Brandon Tew to wrap up the best and the worst lists of 2023. Howie, Brandon, thanks for going to the movies in 2023 and making this list possible. I think we put out a lot of movies that if you haven't seen, go check out, or if you haven't seen, stay away from. Like Brandon recommended with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Next up, at some point, either later this week or somewhere around the weekend, Brandon and I are going to start our review series with Now You See Me and Now You See Me 2. Excited to dive into those with you, Brandon. For Brandon Tew and Howie Collings, I'm Mitchell Lee. Thanks for listening to Press Play Action on Jersey Nerds Productions, and hope you had just as good of a time at the movie theater in 2023 as we did.
Yeah.